And this next key task is creating testing groups. This is completely optional, creating testing groups. However, it's a time saver. If you're at a school where one particular grade level has hundreds, or easily over 100 students, grouping those kids and creating a test group by class, ideally, will allow another staff user, that teacher of that class, to apply that testing group filter. And instead of viewing over 100 students and toggling and finding where are my students on this list so I can monitor them accordingly for this assessment, they'll just see only their class. So that's what the testing group does. It is a filter, and that's how it's applied. It's not directly associated with any staff user. It's created so that now that filter can be used. From there,
while you're moving there, can I just want to also let you know it's a bit of a time sink the first time when you're creating these groups, but you will not have to recreate these groups for AASA in April. The work you do now is still going to be there for when you test in April. So you will not have to repeat this task again before state testing.
Perfect. Okay. So we'll set up testing groups. Notice we have a similar kind of interface again. Whenever we're doing this setup, we've got kind of titles here, tasks, selections over here, some filters, way to search or find groups here. And if I wanted to create a new group, I can go ahead and start all tasks again. Watch what happens if I go to just create from here instead of all tasks. The black ribbon only has that task. I can't tab over. So now what I'm forced to do is circle back, exit tasks, go back, pick the other task once I want to actually add students to that group. And that's why start all tasks whenever we're setting things up. Saves you time. Notice all tasks are now on the tab row here. So I can just toggle over. I can tab over between them. From here, it's pretty straightforward. We go ahead and select. If that's just first on the list, I'm not trying to save some time here. You know, teacher name. Sometimes we have other identifiers out there. Just make sure it's identifiable. It's obviously going to be something that makes a lot of sense at your respective site of what that label would be. But you get to label or name the testing group. You don't have to put a description in there. As soon as you've got it set, once you create it, it tells you now you have it. Now it drops it into your selector here. And if I wanted to, I can go ahead and when I select from here, I can make some edits to the name if I wanted to, save those because it's selected. Or more importantly, I can go in and start adding students to it here. And from here, it's going to be a matter of selecting within here. We're going to start to see some student names populate, and I would check them and save them to add them to this group. But I'm not going to select in here to see the names at this time. Just note that that part will happen unless anyone feels like, hey, this is where it throws me off. So does anyone need me to actually select in the box? I'm sure we can blur things out later, but it might take a lot longer to post the video if we've got to do all that stuff. But I'm seeing head nodding, so let's go for it. All right.
Say, Daniel, my daughter's a student at Vail. If you want to just use my daughter's name as an example.
I'm happy to. Last name Freed.
Yep.
Okay.
There she is.
Lily. Okay. So once we select, they're in here, but we've got to go ahead and put them in for their, in this case, and there's, by the way, the state released and pushed out a lot of other subjects, you'll notice. So it's making these screens busier. So just be very intentional about what you're grouping. In this case, we're putting her in this testing group. And if you wanted to, like John said, if you wanted to say, hey, I want it to be in this testing group applicable to any of these tests. So when we go to session, then that'll carry over. So when John mentioned earlier, you do it once, I would just caution and say, go back if you already created testing groups to this particular task of a selected testing group you created and see if it needs to be checked off and you need to select all again so that that holds up for their other assessments too. And again, that depends on grade level. I'm kind of thinking elementary with that, where everything kind of is in one grade with one teacher. But you may end up have these options in your middle school for your ELA test administrators, and then have it grouped, have this kid in kind of a separate kind of grouping for math. That makes sense by those courses. Okay. So then once we save here, it'll let us know, okay, now we're in here. And truth be told, we don't need to go in and assign users. Like I said, it's in the filter. That's really its primary function. Now the staff can go in, and this student's teachers and Lily's teachers can go in and select teacher name from the testing group filter and see Lily there. So we'll go ahead and demo that coming up. And then Emily, I'll clean up my mess that I'm making. But thank you for volunteering that. Okay. So that's adding students into the group there.